Welcome back. I'm David Elliott Johnson, and obviously I have a lot to say today. It'll be the second time I'm turning on the camera. It occurred to me that a lot of people have no idea what success means to them. They don't know what they want out of their life, out of their creative life. This is the number one issue that I can identify in the majority of artists' lives that I work with. Until they work with me, and I'm not taking credit for this, it's just a conversation that I have with them that they most commonly say, I've never talked about this. So that's what I'm referring to. So I'm the first guy that actually gives a shit to say, what do you really want? What does your future look like? What does success mean to you? Because these are big topics. Because if you don't have clarity or focus on what it is you're going for, what you're trying to do, then you're lost. You can't achieve anything. You can't make anything. It's like a builder without a blueprint, an architect that hasn't drawn anything out and just says, the family wants a house. Let's build a house. You know how to build a house, but there are so many other things that go into building a house. You have to have plans, right? And you have to have plans that make sense for the property that you are building on, and the area, and the zoning, and what is allowed and what isn't allowed. I'm not saying that being an artist or being creative has that many rules or restrictions, because it doesn't. I'm just using that as a reference point. But until you know what you want to do with your creative life, you can't get there. So you have to really be specific. What do you want? What do you want? I can't answer that for you. So you have to think to yourself. Something I teach in my class. What do you want? Really? And how does that play out with your values as a person, as an individual? How does what you want represent you on the fullest level? How does it represent you as your truest potential? Right? Think about this. Even in this moment, what do you want? Identify that, right? This is part of my process. Discover it. Now, once you discover it, what it is you want to do, let's define that, right? Let's really hone in on it. Let's map it out. What are the things you need? What are the things you don't need? And it's just going to be two lists. How do I get there? By train, by plane, by automobile? See where I'm going with this? You need to know how to get there. What is the vehicle that is going to get you there? Yes, your vehicle is going to be your art. Right? Whatever medium it is. However you fully express yourself and intend to create a creative career for yourself, whatever that is, you have to identify that. And you have to define that. You have to look at yourself. What do you represent? Who do I want to be? Right? What do I want? And who do I want to be? And be real with yourself. Answer those questions. Because then that's the only way you can get to the next step of developing that to a consistent level to where you can deliver on a consistent basis. And this is how you create a sustainable success. Again, discover, what do I want? Define, who am I in all of this? And then 3, what do I have to develop to get there in order to deliver at my truest potential. It really is that simple. But all these videos and all these naysayers of what can and can't be done, especially with all the platforms that are available to any artist, any creative outlet, there are no rules. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. So just do it. Now let's get into the concept of limitations that you set for yourself. So when I normally say to somebody, so what do you want? They give me a short outline of what they want, but then they give me a longer laundry list of all the obstacles and limitations in their way. Right? And you know what the first one most commonly is? Money. Right? They have a money problem. Something I learned from a billionaire back in the late 90s. He said, what is stopping you from moving your solo career forward? And I went, money problems. He said, you don't have money problems. I said, yes, I do. He said, no, you have an issue with income. I have money problems. You have no money. You have no problem. You have an issue that you need to resolve by either diversifying what you can do and move on to something else so that you can make a living for yourself while still remaining in your preferred, creative medium, or not. It's your issue with yourself and your limitations that you have structured around your creative process that are keeping you where you're at and not moving you forward. So that first limitation, number one, you do not have a money problem. You have an income issue that you can resolve. If you sit down and go, how can I make money? It might not be your art, but that's okay. Because 72% of artists cannot make a living off of their art fully and live off of it. This is a true statistic. Okay? So when you think about it that way, it's income, but they can't fully support themselves solely on their art. But it does not make them any less value of being an artist. It doesn't keep them from being an artist. You still do your art and you have a passion for it. And there are so many, and a lot of reasons why people have jobs other than just, putting all the pressure on themselves to have their art generate their entire monthly income budget or yearly budget, whatever that might look like. When you take that pressure off of your art, you can create from a place of freedom. There's no stress, there's no anxiety, right? I've been very lucky in the past, over the past, that there have been 2 times in my life where I have done something different than applying myself 100% of the time in my creative practice. And I wouldn't change a thing, because in each situation, I learned something of value. I learned that is not what I want to do, but it also inspired me and motivated me to never have to do that again. To find a way, come hell or high water, to make my income and my living solely on being an artist. And it came down to, what do I want? And who do I want to be? Who am I? Right? I'm going to make another video on another concept that helps me push through when I start to put all of the responsibility and all the weight on myself to be my own artist. And that is become an alter ego. So if I am not who I want to be, why not be who I choose to be? Right? If I'm not there yet, in the interim, why not just kind of play a character for a minute? And that's not being inauthentic. That is actually a reinvention of yourself, right? You're not being dishonest. You're just taking on a character. You're pushing yourself through. You're creating in a different way. Now you can objectively look at what you're doing from the outside because it's not you, right? I'm going to do a whole other video on that because it goes in pretty deep. But these are ways that you can get around the whole limitation of you defining and delivering and developing and discovering, right? So I just want you to really think about what you want. And the other limitation, number 2, that people put down on that list is I don't have enough time. Well, here's the really hard truth. This time, right here, that I'm eating up in your life, you could be using it to be creative. And if you just had a moment where you're like, fuck, that guy's right, and you went click and you turned off your phone and you went to be creative, I'm happy to see you go. But if you have enough time to listen to me, I'm going to continue. And I'm going to give you some more insight. Not much more because I don't like to take up too much of your time because I value your time. I would much rather you be creative. I would much rather you be so immersed in something that you totally love that it consumes you and takes you away from anything that might be obstructing your happiness and obstructing your freedom of being you and being an artist. So I'm going to wrap this up. Figure out what you want and be so specific. Write it down. Imagine it. See it in your head. Envision yourself. Put yourself in that position. And don't let that visual representation go. Don't let that emotional connection to that go. Feel the emotional resolve. Feel it. What does it feel like to be there? What's it gonna feel like? Right? Why wait? Make it now. What does it feel like to be whatever you want to be? What does it feel like to be who you want to be? Be that person. Become that person. Live that person. Everywhere, in any way. Start now. Because if you come from a place of success in your mind and you emotionally resonate that strength and that success and that motivation and that constant inspiration of being an artist, people will take notice and opportunities will come your way and it becomes infectious. And then you discover things not only about yourself, but of others that you didn't know that might be there to help you on your path. Or even if they're just a support. We all need a community of support system. You can't do it on your own. Art is not made in a vacuum. It is made through you being incredibly persistent on creating something of value for yourself. And creating that within a community makes it easier because you can nurture each other, you can inspire each other, you can motivate each other. And again, even if these people that you choose to surround yourself with aren't artists and they don't understand anything about what you're doing, it doesn't matter as long as they appreciate you and appreciate your inspired life. It's not hard. It's really not. Again, there's just so much bullshit that you are inundated with every day. And in hopes, I want to pull the covers off this, pull back the curtain on the man and say, all this shit that you think you know and that you're being fed, it's not the truth. It's somebody else's truth. It's not your truth. Your truth is what you want. Who do you want to be? Who are you? And how do you get to a consistent level of representation of that emotional value in order to consistently deliver that in a way that is uniquely yours and identifiable? There you have it. Sorry I left it for the last video, the last part of this video. I'll get used to it. I hope you've learned something. I hope you walk away from this going, I'm going to turn off my phone for the rest of the day and go be creative because I do have the time. And until we see each other again, be well, be brave, be you. I've been and still am David Elliott Johnson, and please do me a favor. Go over to yourcreativetruth.com and download yourself a free ebook, Understanding Creative Authenticity. It's free. And if you feel like joining the community of like-minded artists that share and inspire and just promote their journey with everybody else in the community, I'd love to have you. Turning this thing off now.